This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, on World Food Day, now we bring you a discussion on water is life, water is food. The participants are G. Asok Kumar, Director General, National Mission for Clean Ganga, and Anubha Rohtagi, Anchor.
October 16th is celebrated every year as World Food Day to promote worldwide awareness about hunger and action for the future of food, people, and the planet. The theme of the World Food Day this year is Water is Life, Water is Food, Leave No One Behind. To discuss this issue, I'm now joined by G. Ashok Kumar, Director General of the National Mission for Clean Ganga, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Mr. Kumar, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to the program.
Mr. Kumar, the focus of the World Food Day this year is water, this critical resource for life, which serves as the foundation of the food that we eat. How we eat and how that food is produced, our livestock, all affect water. Your initial thoughts on this year's theme?
It's a very relevant topic, and I'm very happy that India and world is realizing the importance of water. First of all, water we took for granted every time, and then we thought that it will be a continuous available throughout, and we never thought of sustainability. And we never looked agriculture to the prism of water, because in India, almost 85 to 89% of water is actually used in agriculture, and with a very poor water use efficiency, about 30-35%. That means the water footprint of the agriculture in India is very, very high. And we use more water, maybe 2 to 3 times more water than any of our contemporary farmers in the other nations. So it is very important that in this World Food Day, we look at agriculture in India through a prism of water and pause and look at what more should be done in agriculture sector so that our water is also conserved and our future generation is also gets water and ensure food security. So it's very important that these water, energy, food nexus is addressed during this World Food Day.
As you rightly said, that India being a largely agricultural country and we depend on the monsoon and water for our food security. But there are the issues of unchecked economic development, urbanization and climate change that have been a threat to water availability for quite some time now. And now this further leads to rise in food insecurity. Now, as you very rightly said, that this precious resource covers majority of the Earth's surface, yet it is not finite. And even so, we continue to take it for granted. So in this context, how important does water management become?
Very, very important. In India, if you look at it in this way, that the annual rainfall we get is a constant for last maybe 100 years. What has happened because of the climate change, the rainfall pattern has changed. What used to come in probably 4 months, 5 months in a monsoon period is now probably coming in very short number of days. That means the intensity of rainfall has gone up and the number of rainy days have come down. So this is a major challenge for us. As you rightly mentioned, most of the Indian agriculture is rain-fed. And when there's a shift in the rain pattern, our agriculture systems also get affected. And more than that, our water availability is getting affected, not because the water coming from nature is gone down, but our storage of water is getting reduced and our exploitation of water is getting more. If you look at Indian agriculture, it is dominated by water-intensive crops like rice, wheat, cotton, etc., which are water-guzzling crops. And the irrigation sector in India also caters to these crops mostly. So it almost 60 to 70% of the irrigated area in India through surface irrigation, etc., are meant for these water guzzling crops. So as I mentioned, our water footprint is very high and the water efficiency is very low. Primarily because very outdated technologies of irrigation. Many of the parts of the country we use flood irrigation, which is the most inefficient way of using water. Drip irrigation and other micro irrigation facilities and technologies are available, but we are not going for it. So if you go for this better irrigation facilities and use the water more efficiently, we may able to reduce the usage of water in irrigation and probably increase the water use efficiency and reduce the water footprint in India.
Now, from what you've just told me, it's very clear that you just said that, because agriculture in India is dominated by water-guzzling, water-intense crops. In this context, crops like millets, this year is the year of the millets, that becomes very important. And also the role of technology in water management and conservation becomes equally important.
Exactly. I'm continuing on the water management because here what happens in India is that even though our availability of water to rainfall remains constant throughout, we are not managing it properly. We are not using it properly after storing it and also using it with better efficiency. Now, you talked about the high intensity water gushing crops. What we should now look at is diversion of crops. Millets is one good example. So in 2019, National Water Mission had come out with a campaign called Sahi Fasal. Sahi Fasal is nudging farmers to grow crops which are less water intensive and the crops which are appropriate to your soil conditions and appropriate to your climatic conditions. And without, of course, reducing the remuneration to farmers. Now, there are 2 or 3 points important in this. We have to grow agriculture crops which are suited to our area. Now, if you look at the Punjab and Haryana area, these are not suited for paddy or wheat, but people tend to go for paddy and wheat because of various other reasons. And irrigation they use is flood irrigation. As I said, waste of water is there. So if we nudge go for appropriate crops which are suitable for their area and also appropriate to their climatic conditions, soil conditions, probably the water usage will come down. But there are issues associated with this. One is the policies of the government. Some policies which are not directly related to the water sector affects majorly the water sector. For example, free power in states for farmers actually encourages farmers to go for more and more tube wells or bore wells and leading to large scale extraction of groundwater. Second, the policies of MSP, which will encourage farmers to go for crops like paddy, etc., which have an assured MSP. You mentioned about the millet. Millet actually is a crop which is very appropriate and which was being cultivated in most part of the country because it was suitable for the area, it was suitable for the rainfall pattern in the country and also suited for the soil conditions. Somehow we missed it out and then went for the paddy, etc., which were further encouraged because of the support from the government or the MSP, etc. Yes, we required paddy at the time when we had a food shortage. But now, when we have sufficient food grains in our godowns, and we probably have more than 3 times the food requirement security in the nation. So we have large quantity of storage of paddy and rice and wheat kept in this godown, and we tend to produce more and more paddy. So it's high time that behavioral change is brought into the farmer's mind to go for crops which are less water guzzling and also uses water more efficiently. So in this case, it is one of the best example of a substitute crop. Millet, maize, etc. are other crops which can reduce the water usage and can, without affecting the food security of the nation, we can prod the farmers to go for this time.
Now, according to the United Nations World Water Development Report 2023, it is projected by the year 2050, 1/3 to nearly 1/2 of the world's urban population will face water scarcity, which is up from 1/3 in 2016. And more worrisome, it said that India is expected to be one of the most severely affected countries. Now, we are already seeing this impact in cities such as Bangalore, Chennai, to name a few. What is your view on the UN report with regard to India?
I again go back to the basic fundamental. We have to do proper demand side management as well as we also look at the supply side management. Now, there are a couple of things which we can do in the supply side management also. As I mentioned, the total rainfall over the year has been constant for last 100 years. Only thing that the intensity of rainfall has gone up and the number of rainy days have come down. So what is the best way to do that? We have to catch the rain. So we had a campaign called Catch the Rain with tagline Catch the Rain where it falls, when it falls. This is actually encouraging stakeholders to store maximum rainwater whenever it comes. But as you mentioned, urbanization is a great problem for this water storage because urbanization density, the surface area becomes much more concretized and tiling is happening in a large way. Urbanization densifies the substance, which reduces the permeability of water. So this low permeability of the soil in urban areas and the fast runoff coefficient due to tiling and concreting, etc., led to a situation where the rainwater was not getting stored in our aquifer. So this has resulted in urban flooding and also the water getting run off, leading to less recharge of groundwater. And hence, when we try to extract more and more groundwater for agriculture purposes, with less recharge happening, the water table goes down. So water table going down is a major concern for us because most of the urban areas also look at groundwater for drinking water purpose. As we exploit more and more water for agriculture from the underground aquifer, our water tables are go down and many of the cities are now facing drinking water crisis because the water table has gone down. This also adds to the problem of energy because the more deeper you go down, the more energy you require to pump out the water. Almost 25% of India's energy is used for pumping out the water, whether it is electricity or diesel. So this is again a very strategic energy crisis if you don't let water table come up. One important step to ensure that the water table is up is to catch the rain and store it in aquifer where it falls when it falls. Apart from that, you also have to look at the demand side. As I mentioned, we should go for crops which does not require too much of water and use water more efficiently by better irrigation facilities, and thereby reducing the water uptake from the groundwater. Then probably we will be able to address these issues. So demand side management and supply side management along with behavioral change of water is what is required for the country to come out of this water crisis, which can come anytime sooner.
Now, rivers provide us with the water that we need to sustain ourselves. We are seeing that our rivers are shrinking, they're getting more polluted with every passing year. You are associated with an important body, National Mission for Clean Ganga. Can you elaborate on the steps being taken for the health of India's most important river and what has been achieved so far?
Ganga is an important river in the country. We have taken a lot of steps to ensure that the river water in Ganga is cleaned up and the pollution does not happen into the river. And to a large extent, we are succeeded also. Now, I'd like to make a point before coming to the river. The water security depends upon two aspects. One is the water quality and the one is water quantity. So I was mentioning about the demand supply management and the catch rain, all etc. was related to water quantity. The second point you mentioned was about the water quality. And that's why Namami Ganga is mandated to clean up the Ganga river and see that good water flows in the river. For that, we have identified the most important pollutants in this river, which are the untreated sewage flowing from the cities and also from the industrial effluents which flow and pollute the water. So the efforts which we have put in the last 8 years to block the flow of dirty water from the sewage canals and from the drains has yielded good results. We have spent almost 37,000 worth projects on the banks of River Gangas to set up STPs in a very large number. And many STPs are functional and also help preventing the water getting polluted by sewage, etc. One very important thing you should notice is the good water. There's a limited quantity available in the universe, and India having 18% of population of human beings, almost 20% of the cattle population require a lot of water for drinking water purposes. So this water, though it is very limited, is further compounded by pollution coming into it. So large quantity of good water can be polluted by a small quantity of dirty water coming in. So water pollution is also very important. So as I mentioned, for water security, the two pillars, one is the water quantity, which can be addressed by catch the rain campaign and storing rainwater, etc. And second is the water quality aspect, which can be addressed by ensuring that the pollutants which are flowing into these water sources are prevented. One important pollutant is the sewage which comes from the urban areas and cities. And second, very important, is the night soil and etc., which used to be there in the open till the Swachh Bharat mission came up. Honorable Prime Minister started the Swachh Bharat mission in 2014, where we encouraged people to go for toilets. This is a very interesting aspect because earlier people used to go for out in the open for excretion, etc. That dirt which is lying in the open gets mixed with water and then used to pollute the drinking water sources, which was a major source of diseases and waterborne diseases. With the Swachh Bharat mission, we have actually controlled this open defecation, hence the open excreta, etc., which is now prevented from going to water bodies to prevent the good drinking water sources. So this is very important. Water quality aspect is important and water quantity aspect is important. And in the rivers, as I said, Ganga River was one of the very dirty rivers and a lot of effluents from the cities as well as industries used to flow into here. To a large extent, we are controlled in the mainstem river and also the number of biodiversity, that is the dolphins and the other gharials and etc., which were actually going down, has now started coming up. So the effort which we have put in clean the river Ganga under the directions of Honorable Prime Minister under the Namami Ganga program had seen good results, and we can assure you that the water in the mainstem is of bathing quality throughout the stretch, barring very small stretches. And we are now trying to focus on the tributaries like Yamuna. Yamuna is very dirty in the Delhi area. That's also being addressed. Maybe in a year or so, we'll try to clean up that also. So from the main stem, we are now focusing on to the tributaries of Ganga. And the lessons learned in Ganga is being implemented in other rivers. So other polluted river stretches in the country is also being treated to ensure that good water flows in the rivers.
Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Kumar.
Thank you.
On World Food Day, you were listening to a discussion on Water is Life, Water is Food. The participants were G. Asok Kumar, Director General, National Mission for Clean Ganga, and Anubha Rohtagi, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928 909 4044.